Did you watch last night's debate? President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump debating big topics ahead of the November election. Both are back on the campaign trail today. As Jared Hill reports, voters saw a shaky performance by the sitting president and unchecked falsehoods from his predecessor.
The first ever debate between a sitting president
and I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on
and a former president.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Is giving voters a lot to consider. Early in the night, viewers heard President Biden's voice falter and answers that trailed off.
Dealing with everything we have to do with, look.
On the other side of the stage, Trump delivered falsehoods on his economic record.
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country.
His legal troubles.
He indicted me because I was his opponent.
And abortion.
He's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby.
That is simply not true. We are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
With just about 4 months until the election, both candidates are already on the campaign trail again, trying to sway undecided voters. President Biden started with a stop in Raleigh, North Carolina.
I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know, and I know how to do this job.
After his performance last night, some Democrats are openly contemplating whether it's too late to replace Biden on the ticket. The House Democratic leader was asked whether Biden should step down.
Should he step aside?
Post-debate, many Republicans are celebrating their presumptive nominee.
Donald Trump is the only man on that stage that's qualified and capable of serving as the next president.
As of now, both candidates are still committed to meeting on the debate stage again in September. Jared Hill, CBS News, Atlanta, Georgia.
President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump went head-to-head on a wide range of issues in the first presidential debate. And today, reactions and analysis are rolling in. Scott MacFarlane joins us from Washington, D.C. And Scott, to start, we want to look at the issues brought up last night, because here's some of what Biden and Trump said.
Inflation's killing our country.
We have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs.
We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world.
I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. If I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother.
Now, we didn't hear anything new from either debate, but was their messaging clear in your opinion, or was it more about just reinforcing their positions?
You know, we've spent this day, Aaron, getting reaction from Democratic lawmakers here in Washington about what they thought of the president's performance, and so little of it was about how he did on those issues and how Donald Trump did on those issues. So much of this came down to two fundamental dynamics out of the debate. There's obvious concern from Democrats and very muted support today because of President Biden's vocal and physical performance, how he looked, how he sounded. It's hard to get past those things when you're watching TV in the summer and perhaps watching politics for the first time, getting past the visual cues. There was concern about that, and I don't think in the past 24 hours a lot of those concerns have gone away. For Donald Trump, there's criticism from Democrats that they say whatever he's saying about issues is untruthful or rooted in baseless claims. And among his Republican supporters, they see a clear victor. But there's little litigation, Aaron, about how he did on inflation, on women's reproductive rights, on the issues of the economy. There's much more talk about the aesthetics of this first and potentially only 2024 presidential debate.
Well, let's talk more about them then. Perhaps the most memorable part of the debate, to your point, is how uncomfortable it was at times amid personal attacks and then, of course, the president stumbling to answer questions. Here's some of those exchanges.
What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed.
Every single thing he said is a lie with the COVID, with
deal. I don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
So what's the general reaction here as far as how this went, who won the debate, and what happens next, Scott?
Yeah, but ultimately, what happens next is President Biden meets with other powerful Democrats. They have a fundraising event in the Northeast to begin this weekend. But here in Washington, where there are no shortage of Democrats who are office holders, who are seeking, in some cases, re-election in competitive districts, including in Minnesota, there's obviously some concern. that if President Biden doesn't show more, in a literal sense and a figurative sense, show more on the debate stage, more of his animation, more of his energy, that there's going to be problems down ballot. They're worried about Minnesota becoming among the swing states where it wasn't so much in 2020 or 2016.
We will be watching. We know you will be too. Scott McFarland in Washington, D.C. for us. Thank you so much.